Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha with News Tonight, where we take you through the day's biggest news stories from across India and the world. The top story we are tracking tonight is the unfortunate gas leak at a polymer plant in Andhra Pradesh's Visakhapatnam district, which has claimed at least 11 lives so far, while hundreds others have been admitted to various hospitals. Details of the tragic incident in this report. The gas leak took place early morning around 2:30 a.m. on Thursday at the LG Polymers plant in Visakhapatnam's Gopalpatnam area. The toxic gas styrene leaked as workers were preparing to restart operations at the plant that had been shut since the lockdown began. Exposed to the leaked gas, people in a 3-kilometer radius complained of irritation in the eyes, breathlessness, nausea, and rashes on their bodies. Many people were found lying unconscious on roads in the area and were rushed to hospitals. The incident was reported to local authorities, who reached the spot and sprayed water to limit the impact of the gas. Local NDRF teams have evacuated thousands of people from the area around the chemical plant.
Around 5:30 or 5:45, the local NDRF unit, which is stationed in Visakhapatnam, which is called the Regional Response Center Unit, RRC unit, was informed, and the RRC unit immediately rushed and was there within half an hour. And after that, they helped in two ways. The first was for neutralizing the situation inside the polymers, LG Polymer factory itself. And the second is for the evacuation of the villagers near the factory site, which is the abutting village of Venkatapuram. So about 200 to 250 families were evacuated, and door-to-door search was done by the NDRF. NDRF also has stayed back and will stay back. The unit will stay back in that area till we are absolutely sure that situation is absolutely under control.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a meeting of NDMA and took stock of the situation. Home Minister Amit Shah was also present at this meeting. Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister P.K. Mishra also held a meeting with the Cabinet Secretary, Home Secretary, NDRF, NDMA, AIMS Director and medical experts. He has given further directions for sending expert teams to the site.
Central government is mobilizing specialized CBRN teams from Pune, where we have the core capacity on CBRN of NDRF located, and fly them onto the site to see what is the kind of technical support that can be provided to the plant, to the state authorities, to the local authorities as well. We are also mobilizing from the central government specialized technical support to assist the medical practitioners in the area who may not have dealt with this kind of chemical emergency. How do you deal with people who have exposed from the medical perspective?
The leakage is under control as of now, but it will take some time for the situation to return to normal. The effect of the leak was seen the most in a radius of 1 to 1.5 kilometers, even as the smell of the gas spread to over 3-kilometer radius.
Now things are under control. I would say that the leakage situation is much better now, in the sense that the silo that was leaking is now down to minimal, and there is hardly any leakage there. But as I say that, I also underline that we will be there till that leakage is totally plugged, and other measures to neutralize the entire chemical situation there is also being taken.
This is, as has been already told, it's a compound styrene, which is an alkaline benzene compound. अगर हम इस compound की बात करें, तो it can basically cause harm to humans by inhalation, by ingestion, by effect on the skin, and effect on the eyes, what we call ocular effect. Inhalation, say, it can cause mucosal irritation, irritation in the throat, in the airways, which can lead to coughing. It can lead to breathing difficulty and wheezing or a whistling sound in the chest. First thing that one needs to do is remove the individuals from the affected area, and as you've heard, that has been done aggressively since early morning. Individuals, because of exposure that can happen through clothes are to be removed. The exposed eyes can be washed with water, and you can use an absorbent like tissue or towel to clean the skin so that the deposition of the skin is clean. Water can also be used, and then these individuals have to be monitored for any breathing difficulty and for any drowsiness, because like I said, it can affect the lungs but can also affect the brain.
Earlier in the day, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy visited the King George Hospital to meet those affected. He has also announced a compensation of 1 crore rupees to the families of the deceased and ordered a probe into the incident. Meanwhile, the National Human Rights Commission has sent a notice to the Andhra Pradesh government and the centre over the deaths and suffering of the people due to the gas leak.
And leaders have expressed grief at the tragic gas leak incident at Visakhapatnam. In a Twitter message, President Ramnath Kovind said he was saddened by the incident which has claimed several lives. He expressed condolences to the bereaved families and prayed for the recovery of those injured. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu lauded the police personnel, NDRF and SDRF teams, paramedics and doctors for their prompt response to the gas leak. He also expressed condolences to the bereaved families and wished a speedy recovery to those in hospital. Closely monitoring the situation, Prime Minister Narendra Modi prayed for the safety and well-being of people in Visakhapatnam. The number of coronavirus cases in India has reached nearly 53,000. But there are several bits of good news coming in from different parts of the country as well. 180 districts of India have not reported any new case of coronavirus in less than 7 days. 164 districts have not had a new case of coronavirus in the last 14 to 20 days, while 136 districts have been corona-free for the last 21 to 28 days. However, Chennai and Ahmedabad have emerged as the new coronavirus hotspots in the country. Amid the mounting number of cases in Ahmedabad, the city administration announced a complete lockdown for a week. The city has accounted for more than 70% of the total cases reported in Gujarat so far. Meanwhile, most of the standalone shops in Chennai remained closed for the second day on Thursday, despite government orders giving relaxation to the lockdown. Chennai has around 2,328 positive cases. In Delhi, the first special train for migrant workers left for Madhya Pradesh on Thursday, carrying home about 1,200 people. The state government has also issued a revised order on guidelines for handling of passengers from abroad arriving at the Delhi airport. As per the new order, passengers from other states will also be quarantined for 14 days by the Delhi government. Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot on Thursday issued an order for sealing all interstate boundaries with immediate effect. The order said only in cases of medical emergency and death in the family an e-pass will be issued. The total number of positive cases in the state has risen to 3,317. In Madhya Pradesh, to monitor asymptomatic coronavirus patients, the state civic body has improvised its already existing mobile app Indore 311 and added some new features to it which will facilitate treatment of such patients at their homes. Indore is one of the worst hit cities in India. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has also announced an increase of working hours in factories from 8 to 12 hours. Meanwhile, Meghalaya government has declared 10 of the state's 11 districts as green zones, allowing inter-district movement there. The Tripura government also revised the compensation for COVID-19 deaths from 4 lakh rupees to 10 lakh rupees, even as no fresh casualties were reported in the state. Overall, 89 deaths have been reported in the last 24 hours, taking the total death toll to 1,783. With 15,267 patients cured, the recovery rate is 28.83%. While it took India nearly a month and a half to discover the first 10,000 cases, the journey from 40,000 to 50,000 cases has taken only 4 days.
Syndrome known as styrene sickness has also been described, which leads to nausea, vomiting, and again unsteady gait, which has been said could be if you're in a drunken state. There is, as far as treatment is concerned, there is no specific antidote. There is no definite medicine for reversing the effect of this compound. and treatment does remain mainly supportive. The first thing that one needs to do is remove the individuals from the affected area, and as you've heard, that has been done aggressively since early morning. Individuals, because of exposure that can happen through clothes are to be removed.
India added nearly 3,561 new cases of coronavirus to its total tally in just the last 24 hours, with 89 deaths also being reported since yesterday from across different parts of the country. As the need for a possible cure or treatment becomes urgent for COVID-19, the Indian Council of Medical Research has given its nod to a multi-center clinical trial of plasma therapy. For this, the ICMR has shortlisted 21 hospitals across the country to initiate trials on critically ill COVID-19 patients. While 5 of these hospitals are in Maharashtra alone, hospitals from Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh and Punjab have also been finalized. Another 90 hospitals, including AIIMS, Apollo and Indian Red Cross Society in Delhi, are also under consideration. In convalescent plasma therapy, antibodies from the blood of patients who have recovered from COVID-19 are used to treat severely infected patients. Researchers revealed that it can help boost the immune system of the infected patients. However, the procedure is in the experimental stage, and as per government guidelines, hospitals planning to provide plasma therapy should do so in a clinical trial. At this moment, the ICMR does not recommend this as a treatment option outside of clinical trials. The first flight of the Air India Express left from Kochi in Kerala to Abu Dhabi to bring back the Indian nationals stranded there. It marked the government's biggest repatriation of its citizens stranded in different countries across the world due to COVID-19 lockdowns. The Air India Express repatriation flights from Abu Dhabi and Dubai were slated to return to Kochi and Kozhikode airports in the evening. The airlines will operate similar flights to Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Kuwait, Muscat, Bahrain and the UAE in the first week. 60 pilots and 120 cabin crew members are deployed for the operation. The cabin crews have been ordered to cover themselves with personal protective equipment suits during the flight. Before takeoff, passengers are provided with 2 face masks, a 100 ml sanitizer bottle, a snack box and a water bottle in their respective seats. Meanwhile, the Indian Navy's INA Jalashwa also entered Male port in Maldives on Thursday to evacuate Indians as part of the Samudra Setu program. The Indian naval ship will leave for Kochi on Friday, carrying nearly 1,000 Indians from Maldives.
Evacuation will be in 2 phases, with the 2 ships first evacuating Indians to Kochi, followed by evacuation to Tuticorin. We are giving top priority to medical cases, to women and to those who have lost their jobs. The evacuation exercise will be a big relief for Indians who have been yearning to join up with their families back in India. The evacuation exercise is also a testimony to the excellent bilateral relationship between India and the Maldives.
The first of the nearly 20 special flights will operate on Friday from Singapore and evacuate 240 Indians from the city-state stranded in the international travel lockdown. 7 non-scheduled special flights will also operate from Saturday to fly back Indian nationals stranded in the US. As many as 64 flights and 3 Navy ships will be operated until the 13th of May to bring home nearly 15,000 Indians stranded overseas starting Thursday. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV. Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan on Thursday launched the Sanjeevni App, an interdisciplinary studies involving Ayush interventions for COVID-19.
Highlighting the importance of harnessing technology for COVID-19 response, he said this alliance between technology stakeholders will help the traditional knowledge of Ayush to reach a large global population. The Sanjeevni mobile app will help generate data on acceptance and usage of Ayush measures among people. In addition to the app, Dr. Harshvardhan also launched 2 scientific studies. The studies are expected to help understand the preventive potential of Ayush interventions during pandemics like the COVID-19. The studies are expected to help understand the preventive potential of Ayush interventions during pandemics like COVID-19 through scientific evidence.
The doubling rate of the COVID-19 disease, which tells us the time taken for cases to double, has improved considerably in India. In an exclusive interview to Rajya Sabha TV, Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan said the focus of the government is to reverse the curve of the virus. In fact, he also expressed confidence that India will win this fight against coronavirus in the next few weeks. In an exclusive interview to Rajya Sabha TV, Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan said, India's curve is flatter than that of several Western countries where many lives have been lost. He urged states to focus on early surveillance, aggressive contact tracing and early diagnosis.
We have the least mortality in the whole world, that's about 3%. We have gradually started opening the economy, we have gradually started relaxing the norms of the lockdown, and the normalcy you can see is returning back gradually, and we are confident that in the next couple of weeks we should be able to turn the tide and have a convincing win over the coronavirus.
The Health Minister said in the coming days, testing capacity will be scaled up. India, he said, intends to do 1 lakh tests a day before the 31st of May.
Testing strategy, and where we have improved our testing abilities, and we have done a great ramping up of our testing facilities all over the country. We should be able to pick up every positive patient in the society as early as possible from all parts of the country.
Dr. Harshvardhan said it is a huge challenge to rapidly develop, evaluate and produce an effective vaccine. India is part of the global efforts to find a cure and effect a breakthrough. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu met Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla at his official residence in New Delhi on Thursday morning. And during the meeting, both the Vice President and the Speaker noted that the members of Parliament are actively involved in the fight against COVID-19. Members of Parliament are initiating welfare measures and supporting various humanitarian initiatives being taken up by both the government and the civil society. In view of the prevailing situation and in the context of restrictions on travel across the country, the Rajya Sabha Chairman and Lok Sabha Speaker felt that if the situation does not allow regular conventional meetings of the House committees in the near future, alternative means of enabling such meetings can be explored. Naidu and Birla have instructed Secretary Generals of both houses to explore if parliamentary committee meetings can be held through video conferencing. Secretary Generals of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha have been asked to submit a report on the same. Gearing up to take the fight against COVID-19 to the next stage, countries across the world have begun to ease restrictions on lockdown measures. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Wednesday said the UK government plans to ease the lockdown from the 11th of May, details of which will be announced on Sunday. Relaxation is expected to start with the reopening of garden centres and more people being allowed to return to work. Primary schools are expected to resume with smaller class sizes by the end of May. Pubs and restaurants are likely to open in late August. Britain's restaurants are offering takeaways, online cooking classes and recipe boxes. Italy, meanwhile, is gradually resuming social, economic and production activities. Manufacturing companies and factories have resumed operations. Restaurants and cafes were allowed to reopen from Monday but are only offering takeaways. They will begin full operations from the 1st of June. Serological tests and temperature checks are being conducted across the country. Wearing masks and gloves is mandatory inside factories. On Wednesday, German Chancellor Angela Merkel announced steps to ease the lockdown. Shops have been allowed to reopen, while sports activities, including Germany's Bundesliga Soccer League, will start in the second half of May. Germans have been allowed to meet a limited number of friends and family. Minimum social distance and hygiene rules are mandatory. France will ease lockdown restrictions and reopen its economy from the 11th of May. Schools will gradually reopen, while workers and companies will be allowed to resume their activities. Wearing masks is mandatory while using public transport. Worldwide, COVID-19 cases now stand at 3.8 million, with 2,65,500 deaths so far. The United States continues to be the worst hit country with over 1.2 million cases and more than 73,000 deaths. President Donald Trump has described the COVID-19 pandemic as the worst attack ever on the United States. Caution is the watchword, says the head of the World Health Organization, two countries trying to come out of nationwide lockdowns. The Director General of the global health body has warned that the number of COVID-19 cases could surge and countries may be forced to return to lockdown if they do not manage this transition extremely carefully.
In a virtual briefing from Geneva on Wednesday, the WHO chief said the trend of infections varied from region to region. He also cautioned that cases have been increasing at an average of nearly 80,000 daily since the beginning of April. Listing out a series of steps that countries need to take before lifting the restrictions, the WHO chief said they should focus on surveillance controls and health system preparedness.
Since the beginning of April, an average of around 80,000 new cases have been reported to WHO every day. Although the number of cases reported from Western Europe is declining, more cases are being reported every day from Eastern Europe, Africa, Southeast Asia, the Eastern Mediterranean, and the Americas.
WHO's warning was accompanied by an appeal for countries to invest in their healthcare systems to preempt the next pandemic rather than scrambling to respond when it hits. The Director General said the world spends about $7.5 trillion on healthcare each year, accounting for almost 10% of global GDP, but that the investment in preparations for emerging pathogens lagged far behind before the pandemic.
Now is an opportunity to lay the foundations for resilient health systems around the world, which has been ignored for long. If we learn anything from COVID-19, it must be that investing in health now will save lives later.
Tedros has come under fire, particularly by the agency's top funder, the United States, for his handling of the outbreak. On Wednesday, he said that the health body will conduct an after-action assessment of its response. However, he said such an assessment will have to wait until the health crisis recedes.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday took part in the global celebrations on Buddha Purnima. Delivering the virtual keynote address, the Prime Minister linked India's success to the teachings of Lord Buddha. The virtual event was organized in the honor of the victims and the frontline warriors of COVID-19.
इस समारोह को कोरोना वैश्विक महामारी से मुकाबला कर रहे पूरी दुनिया के हेल्थ वर्कर्स और दूसरे सेवा कर्मियों के लिए प्रार्थना सप्ताह के रूप में मनाने का संकल्प लिया है। करुणा से भरी आपकी इस पहल के लिए मैं आपकी सराहना करता हूं। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि ऐसे ही संगठित प्रयासों से हम मानवता को इस मुश्किल चुनौती से बाहर निकाल पाएंगे।
The Prime Minister said India is standing firmly in support of everyone who is in need, both at home and across the globe. He added that while making every possible effort to save every citizen, India is also fulfilling its global responsibilities.
भारत आज प्रत्येक भारतवासी का जीवन बचाने के लिए हर संभव प्रयास तो कर ही रहा है, अपने वैश्विक दायित्वों का भी उतनी ही गंभीरता से पालन कर रहा है। बुद्ध भारत के बोध और भारत के आत्मबोध दोनों का प्रतीक है। इसी आत्मबोध के साथ भारत निरंतर पूरी मानवता के लिए पूरे विश्व के हित में काम कर रहा है और करता रहेगा। भारत की प्रगति हमेशा विश्व की प्रगति में सहायक होगी।
The Prime Minister said Lord Buddha and his teachings have contributed immensely to Indian civilization and tradition, and that all of us, in line with that, must stand together in this huge fight against COVID-19. In his address, the Prime Minister also recounted the 4 truths of Lord Buddha.
भगवान बुद्ध ने भारत की संस्कृति और इस महान परंपरा को बहुत समृद्ध किया है। भगवान बुद्ध कहते थे कि मानव को निरंतर ये प्रयास करना चाहिए कि वो कठिन स्थितियों पर विजय प्राप्त करे, उनसे बाहर निकले। थक कर रुक जाना ये विकल्प नहीं हो सकता। आज हम सब भी एक कठिन परिस्थिति से निकलने के लिए निरंतर जुटे हुए हैं, साथ मिलकर काम कर रहे हैं। भगवान बुद्ध के बताए 4 सत्य यानी दया, करुणा, सुख दुख के प्रति समभाव और जो जैसा है उसको उसी रूप में स्वीकारना, ये सत्य निरंतर भारत भूमि की प्रेरणा बने हुए है।
And through his speech, the Prime Minister also paid tribute to the COVID-19 warriors, saying they deserve our appreciation and honor.
इस समय हम अपने आसपास ऐसे अनेकों लोगों को देख रहे हैं जो दूसरों की सेवा के लिए, किसी मरीज के इलाज के लिए, किसी गरीब को भोजन कराने के लिए, किसी अस्पताल में सफाई के लिए, किसी सड़क पर कानून व्यवस्था बनाए रखने के लिए 24 घंटे काम कर रहे हैं। भारत में, भारत के बाहर ऐसा प्रत्येक व्यक्ति, विश्व के हर कोने में ऐसा प्रत्येक व्यक्ति अभिनंदन का पात्र है, नमन का पात्र है।
Well, so that's it from us in this bulletin. Thank you for your time. Take good care of yourselves and your families. Stay at home. Stay safe. Thank you very much.